In the quiet moments before sunrise, a small inn rests in stillness, its wooden tables empty and undisturbed, and the air inside feels calm and cool, holding a faint and gentle smell of firewood that lingers softly in the room. Nothing moves, nothing changes, and the silence feels steady and safe, like a place where time slows down without effort. The light has not yet fully arrived, and the space remains dim, peaceful, and quiet. And as the day has not yet begun, there is no need to hurry, no need to think, only to be here in this calm and gentle place. So if you would like, you can stay a little longer and listen as this slow and simple day unfolds, one quiet moment at a time, guiding you gently toward rest and into a deep and comfortable sleep. Chapter 1: The Quiet Preparation Before Dawn. The innkeeper wakes slowly, as if the morning itself is still deciding whether to begin, and for a few moments he remains still on his bed, feeling the cool air of the room resting gently around him. And the silence is complete, without interruption, without any sudden sound, and it feels steady and calm, like it has been there all through the night and will remain there a little longer. The light has not yet entered the room in any strong way, only a faint gray tone that barely touches the wooden walls, and as his eyes open, he does not move immediately. He simply breathes, slowly and evenly, allowing the quiet to stay with him. After some time, he begins to sit up, moving without hurry, placing his feet on the floor, and the wood beneath him feels slightly cool, slightly firm, and very familiar. And he pauses there, sitting at the edge of the bed, letting the stillness of the early hour settle fully within him before he stands. When he rises, his movement is slow and careful, and he reaches for his clothes, putting them on in the same simple way as always, each motion repeated, each step known, and there is no need to think, no need to change anything, only to continue in the same steady rhythm that has shaped many mornings before. The door opens softly, and the air outside the room feels slightly cooler, carrying a faint scent of wood and ash. And the inn remains quiet, its space still resting in the calm before the day begins. And he steps into the main room, where the wooden tables and benches sit empty, untouched, waiting. The room is dim, lit only by the soft early light that begins to gather near the windows, and the surfaces of the tables hold a slight dullness, not dirty, but not yet prepared for the day. And the innkeeper walks slowly toward the nearest table, placing his hand lightly upon it, feeling the texture of the wood, smooth in some places, slightly worn in others. And he takes a cloth from nearby, holding it gently, and begins to wipe the surface. His movement is slow and even, the cloth passing across the table in a steady motion, back and forth, again and again. And the sound is soft, a faint brushing that repeats without change. And he does not rush. He does not skip any part. He simply continues, moving from one section to another. And when one table is finished, he moves to the next, and then the next, following the same pattern, the same pace, the same quiet rhythm. The room remains still as he works, and the light grows slightly, though it remains soft and without sharpness, and the air carries the same gentle scent of wood and faint ash, and nothing interrupts the calm. Nothing asks for attention, and the innkeeper continues, wiping, pausing, moving, wiping again. After a long while, the tables are clean, their surfaces slightly more even, slightly more ready, and he sets the cloth aside, not quickly, but with the same careful motion. And then he turns toward the fireplace, which sits quiet and dark against the wall, holding the remains of the previous day's fire. He kneels slowly, reaching forward, and begins to arrange the wood inside, placing each piece carefully, not forcing anything, not rushing the process. And the small sounds of wood touching wood are soft and brief, blending into the stillness of the room. He adjusts the pieces, one by one, ensuring they rest in a simple and steady arrangement. And then he reaches for a small tool, clearing away the light ash, moving it aside in gentle motions, and the air shifts slightly as he works, carrying a faint dry scent that quickly settles again. When the wood is in place, he pauses for a moment, looking at the quiet fireplace, and then he begins to light it, slowly, carefully, and the small flame appears, not strong, not bright, but gentle, and it grows gradually, touching the wood in a soft and steady way, and the warmth begins to form, slowly spreading into the room, not enough to change the air completely, but enough to add a quiet sense of comfort. The fire does not crackle loudly, it does not move suddenly, it simply burns in a calm and even way, and the innkeeper watches it for a moment, ensuring it remains steady, and then he stands again, moving slowly back into the room, where the tables now sit clean and ready, and the light has grown just a little more, though still soft, still gentle, still quiet. He walks from one side of the room to the other, making small adjustments, placing objects in their proper places, aligning cups, straightening benches, and each action is done in the same slow and careful manner. And there is no urgency, no change in pace, only the quiet continuation of simple tasks. The inn remains empty, the air still calm, the fire softly burning, and the innkeeper continues his work, moving slowly, repeating the same gentle actions, and the morning unfolds in this quiet and predictable way. without any sudden movement, without any interruption, only the steady rhythm of preparation, carried out one small step at a time. As the day begins, slowly, softly, and without hurry. Chapter 2: The Long, Still Hours Inside the Inn. As the quiet morning slowly settles into a calm and steady day, the innkeeper continues to move through the room with the same unhurried pace, his steps soft against the wooden floor, his presence blending into the stillness rather than disturbing it. And the light inside the inn remains dim and gentle, filtered through small windows that allow only a muted glow to enter, leaving the space in a soft balance of shadow and faint brightness. The wooden tables, now clean, hold a quiet shine, not bright, not sharp, just a soft and even surface that reflects a small amount of light, and the benches remain still, arranged in their familiar places, and the air carries a faint warmth from the fireplace, mixed with the steady scent of wood and a hint of ash that lingers quietly in the background. The innkeeper reaches for a set of cups, simple and worn, their surfaces smooth in some places and slightly rough in others, and he lifts them one by one, placing them carefully upon the table, aligning them in a slow and measured way, ensuring each one rests evenly. And when one is placed, he pauses briefly before moving to the next, repeating the same small motion again and again. The sound of each cup touching the table is soft and brief, fading almost immediately, and the repetition of this action forms a gentle rhythm that blends into the silence, not breaking it, only adding to its steady presence. After arranging the cups, he picks up the cloth once more and begins to wipe the surfaces again. Not because they are unclean, but because the act itself continues the quiet flow of the day, and the cloth moves slowly across the wood, back and forth, in the same even pattern, and the sound is soft, a faint brushing that repeats without change. The innkeeper does not rush, he does not skip any movement. He simply continues, and when one table is finished, he moves to another, and then another, repeating the same motion, the same pace, the same calm. The light shifts slightly as time passes, though it remains dim and gentle, never becoming bright or sharp. And the shadows within the room move only in the smallest way, almost too slowly to notice. And the fire continues to burn quietly, its glow steady and low, adding a soft warmth that rests gently against the walls and the floor. From time to time, there is a faint sound from outside, perhaps a distant step or the soft movement of something passing by, but these sounds remain far away, barely reaching into the space, and they do not interrupt the calm. They simply exist for a moment and then fade again, leaving the silence unchanged. The innkeeper pauses for a short while, standing still near one of the tables, his hands resting lightly at his sides, and he looks across the room, though he is not searching for anything, not expecting anything to change, only observing the same quiet arrangement, the same steady stillness. After a moment, he begins to move again, slowly walking toward another part of the room, adjusting a bench slightly, moving it just enough to align with the table and then stepping back, his movements small and careful. And once the adjustment is complete, he remains still again for a brief moment before continuing. The repetition continues. Arrange, wipe, pause, walk, and arrange again, and each action follows the same gentle pattern, without variation, without urgency, and the time passes in this quiet way, not marked by any clear change, only by the continuation of these small and steady tasks. The wood beneath his hands feels the same each time, slightly warm now from the air of the room, and the texture remains familiar, and the cloth moves across it in the same smooth motion, and the cups remain in their places, unchanged, steady, and still. Occasionally, he lifts one of the cups again, turning it slightly, placing it back down, ensuring it rests just as it should. And this small adjustment is done with the same care as everything else. And then he moves on, returning to the same pattern once more. The inn remains empty, no voices, no movement beyond his own. And even his movement feels soft and distant, as if it belongs to the quiet rather than breaking it. And the air holds steady, warm, but not heavy, calm, and undisturbed. The hours pass in this slow and predictable way, and nothing happens, nothing changes, and yet the gentle rhythm continues, carrying the time forward without effort, without notice. And the innkeeper remains within this rhythm, moving slowly, pausing often, repeating the same simple actions, and allowing the stillness of the space to remain complete, unbroken, and quietly present as the day continues to unfold in its own calm and uneventful way. Chapter 3. The quiet closing of the inn. As the slow and steady day gently moves toward its end, the light inside the inn begins to soften even more, fading in a gradual and almost unnoticeable way. And the dim glow that once rested quietly across the wooden tables now becomes deeper and more muted, and the shadows stretch slightly longer along the floor and walls. Though they do not move quickly, they only settle into a calmer and quieter shape. The innkeeper stands for a moment near the center of the room, his hands resting lightly at his sides, and he looks across the space that has remained unchanged throughout the day. The same wooden tables, the same benches, the same calm arrangement, and the air holds a steady warmth from the fireplace, mixed with the faint and familiar scent of wood and ash. He begins to move again, slowly and without any urgency, walking toward the door, and each step is soft, the sound of his movement blending gently into the stillness. And when he reaches the door, he pauses briefly before placing his hand upon it, and then he closes it with a quiet and careful motion, and the sound is soft, almost too quiet to notice, and it fades quickly into the calm of the room. After closing the door, he walks along the edge of the room, checking each small detail, not because anything has changed, but because this is part of the same steady routine. And he touches the back of a bench lightly, adjusting it just slightly, and then moves on, his pace remaining slow and even, and his movements small and deliberate. The light continues to fade, and the room grows darker, though not completely, as the fireplace still gives off a gentle glow, and the innkeeper turns toward it, walking slowly across the floor, and he kneels down near the fire, watching the small flames as they burn softly against the wood. And the warmth is still present, though it has begun to lessen slightly, becoming more gentle, more quiet. He reaches forward and adjusts the pieces of wood with a slow and careful motion, moving them slightly so that the fire settles into a lower and steadier burn, and the small sounds of wood shifting are soft and brief. And then the flames respond, not with any sudden change, but with a gradual dimming, a gentle reduction in their brightness, and the glow becomes softer, more even, resting quietly within the fireplace. The innkeeper remains there for a moment, watching the fire, and his breathing is slow and steady, matching the calm rhythm of the room. And after a while he stands again, rising without hurry, and he looks once more across the inn, now dim and quiet, the tables resting in shadow, the air still and undisturbed. He moves slowly toward a small corner where a candle rests, and he lifts it gently, its flame small and steady, and he walks with it through the room, the light following him in a soft and limited way, illuminating only what is close, leaving the rest in calm darkness. And when he reaches the place where it belongs, he sets it down carefully, and the light remains there, quiet and still. The night has now settled fully outside, and the faint sounds that may have existed during the day have faded, leaving only a deep and steady silence. And the innkeeper walks toward his resting place, his steps soft and even. And when he reaches the door to his room, he opens it slowly, stepping inside, and the space greets him with the same calm it held in the morning, unchanged, familiar, and still. He removes his outer clothing in the same slow and simple way, placing each piece aside carefully, and then he prepares for rest, his movements gentle and unhurried, And when he lies down, the bed feels familiar, the surface firm but comfortable, and the blanket rests lightly over him. The air in the room is cool, slightly cooler than the main hall, and it carries the same quiet presence. And as he settles into the bed, his body begins to relax, his breathing slowing, becoming deeper and more even. And there is no sudden end to the day, no sharp change, only a gradual fading, just as the light has faded, just as the fire has dimmed. The moments of the day do not stand apart. They do not return in detail. They simply blend together into one continuous and gentle flow. The waking, the cleaning, the arranging, the waiting, and the closing, all part of the same quiet rhythm. And as he closes his eyes, that rhythm continues, soft and steady, carrying him gently into rest and into sleep, without interruption, without disturbance. As the inn remains still, the fire glowing faintly, and the night holding everything in a calm and peaceful silence.